This is the Parley, a place where guests are required to put their money where their mouth is, where we double down on the discourse. And conversation, that's the only currency accepted. Proudly presented by the Kings of Sport.
What is up? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome one and all to the inaugural episode of the Parley presented by the Kings of Sport. Inaugural. I kind of like that song, that sound for the record. And I'll get back to that for the record, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you worry. We have so much to talk about on this premiere edition of what we hope will be a regular addition to the roster of shows here at the network. But before we get into what this show is and who this show is and why this show is, let me bring in my tag team partner here. Ladies and gentlemen, you know this man as the super producer here at the Kings of Sport Network. He is the Caitlin Clark of producers. Some would say he should be called Caitlin Dark on these streets. Y'all give it up for two-way Ray Williams. Ray, you good, fam?
I'm all good, brother. I'm just taking it one day at a time. So everything's going well for me. I'm good. How about you?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Just busy working and trying to keep the lights on doing these shows here at the network. And that's part of the reason, Ray, why we are doing the Parley. And we can kind of get into the backstory of this program here before we bring on our special guest. But we've been kicking around ideas about bringing new shows to the network and doing different things, trying some things out. And this is one of the things that we came up with. And basically the Parley, it's an informal chat, man, an informal get together. We just having conversations, baby. And it's a good way for us to kind of connect with people in this space that we know, people that we love working with. But just because of our busy schedules, we don't have the time to do something weekly or even bi-weekly. And so the Parley, which is a play on words, because parlay, for those that are sports fans watching this, you know, parlay is when you're putting your money down on various legs, trying to make that money. But another meaning of the word parlay is a get-together, a gathering, a sit-down between either adversaries or colleagues where they hash things out. And that's what I hope this show can be, something where me and Ray and our friends in this space can just talk, man. Because we don't sit down and talk enough, Ray Williams. And so I'm excited for this. And here's the thing, Ray, spoiler alert, full disclosure, this may be the first in a long series of episodes, or this may be something we do now and we don't do another one until January, because that's the way life works sometimes too, brother.
I totally agree.
Are you eating, Ray?
No, I just took a sip of water. Of course, you caught me as soon as I took a sip of water.
This brother's eating when we trying to set up something for the people, man. Come on, Ray Williams.
I made sure to eat before the podcast this time. I'm not munching like I was before. I was munching on an Uncrustable when we were doing NWA before. But
I mean, if you need a go-to snack in a pinch, Uncrustables will do the trick. Shout out to Uncrustables. Maybe we get an Uncrustable sponsorship in 2025. You never know, Ray Williams.
Indeed. But we do want to holler at the people who have joined us, including friend of the network, brother Steve Willie. Yo to you too, brother. Hope you're doing well.
Salute to Steve Willie out there in the greater Chicagoland area. Steve Willie will be making an appearance at some point this year. Steve Willie, Vanessa Shark, and myself, we are in negotiations to bring back TDT Talks, The Darkest Timeline, which was another favorite show of mine during the pandemic era of the Kings of Sport. So we have made it a goal to get one episode done before the end of the year. So it may be next week, it may be 3 weeks from now, it may be Christmas Eve, it may be New Year's Eve. But there will be an episode of TDT Talks before this year is up, and then going forward with myself, Steve Willie, and the great Vanessa Shark. So y'all have that to look forward to. But Ray, I'm looking forward to our guest, our inaugural guest, our test subject, if you want to be crude about it, for the parlay. This is somebody who should be very familiar to people here at the Kings of Sport because she is one of the hosts of the AvengeHers initiative alongside Jennifer Smith and myself. She is one of the hosts of the Lituation Room over at the Multiverse of Color. And she is one of my erstwhile podcast companions on these streets, Ray Williams. Y'all give it up for one of my favorite people in the world, the illustrious, the fabulous, the politically motivated, Miss Britney Monae. Cap, what's up? You good, fam?
Hello. I'm doing all right. I have allergies around this time of year, so if you guys hear something in my mouth, it's a cough drop because the cough drops I get help with congestion. Just to throw that out there, just in case.
Something.
It's not an Uncrustable, even though those are valid. It's nice to be here. I haven't.
A grape, Ray. Strawberry or grape?
Oh, strawberry.
Yeah.
Okay,
100%.
okay. You a real one, Ray Williams.
I prefer strawberry as well, but if all I got is grape, I'm gonna eat it because I still like the Uncrustables either way.
That is true.
You ever toast your Uncrustable, Ray?
Oh, no.
That's next level, brother. You ain't ready for that?
Fancy now.
It kind of defeats the purpose of the Uncrustable because it's supposed to be something like you can eat quickly.
Yeah.
But when I have been having an adult beverage or two, Ray Williams, and I'm like, I don't want to like cook something big. I don't want to cook something heavy, Brit. I'm like, you know what? I got some Uncrustables in the refrigerator. What if I throw them joints in the oven for about 15 minutes, get a little crust on the Uncrustables? I be thinking of these things, right? These are the things I think about when I'm alone at night.
These are the things that we have to mention that we need the parlay in order to give our thoughts out. Like
absolutely,
like toasting.
We just having conversations, Ray Williams.
Indeed.
So this is an informal show. Like there's no structure, there's no set talking points. But given the events of the day, Ray, I kind of feel like we got to start somewhere. And what better place? Frozen only. Come on, Steve Willie. You gotta step your game up, brother. I'm trying to put you on game, Steve. Throw that Uncrustable in the oven, man. Come on, Steve Willie. But we are going to start with the topic du jour, the topic of the day. And as you know, Britney Monae, du jour means friendship. And one thing that brings friends together, Ray, all the time is politics, man. Election day 2024, Trump, Harris, Vance, Walls, and Jill Stein on these streets. It's a big one. I am cautiously optimistic for the night. Ray Williams, did you make it out to the polls today, brother?
Well, I actually had a mail-in vote, so I put my mail-in vote in yesterday. I was so busy, and Lord knows the mail-in vote has been a godsend for me because it's like I don't want to be in the lines, and I don't feel like dealing with people even going out to like the early voting and still being in lines, and then the poll workers, they're doing their job, but it's like they tell you one thing, and then I'm here, and then they tell me another thing. So I figure I cut through all that. And I get my mail-in vote, put it in the envelope, put the little message in on it that it tells me to leave it in the box, set it and forget it, like an Uncrustable in the oven.
Okay, I like how you brought that full circle. I went in person this morning because I had the day off from work. And as anybody that watched Rewind to Raw last night knows, there was a ulterior motive for me to go vote in person, Brittany, because we have a particular poll worker at my local polling station that has been doing this since like the late 90s, Britt. Old white man named Mr. Cecil. Kind of looked like Orville Redenbacher, just a little bit chubbier. Mr. Cecil been working at these polls for years and more years. And one of the things Mr. Cecil always does is he cooks a big pot of Brunswick stew on election day. Brunswick stew and homemade cornbread because he knows he's going to be there all day long. but he never shares it with anybody, Britt. Mr. Cecil is selfish. He keeps all that goodness to himself. But 7 years ago, Mr. Cecil's like, this young man, you're always here. And this is back when I used to smoke. He's like, young man, you're always here. I'm going on break in 5 minutes. You want to have a smoke so we can chat a little bit? And I'm like, I don't really know you like that, man, but okay. I was going to go smoke anyway after I voted. So I'm outside, Britt, having a cigarette. And then what do you know? Mr. Cecil walks up to me with a little styrofoam cup. In the cup, he got the Brunswick stew with the potatoes, with the rice, with the chicken and the broth and a piece of cornbread. He's like, now don't tell anybody, but you look like a nice young man. And he gave me the Brunswick stew. I went home, ate the Brunswick stew. It was delicious. And so that's part of the reason I went back up to the polls today, because Mr. Cecil, every election year since that I've gone has hit me off with the Brunswick stew, Britt. But times have changed, because I went up there looking for Mr. Cecil. I was like, hey, Mr. Cecil here today? Is he on break? They're like, oh, Mr. Cecil retired a couple years ago.
Oh.
His last election was the 2022 midterms, which I voted for by mail. So I missed out on my last chance to get some Brunswick stew from that man, Mr. Cecil. So salute to Mr. Cecil and all the poll workers who are doing their job today, because it is a very difficult job. Like with people acting a fool and threatening poll workers, like that's not America. What about the distinguished gentlewoman from the state of California, Britney Monae? Did you get your vote on today, fam?
No, I did not. And I know people are gonna be like, oh my God, Britney, how dare you? But for me, I just felt like in a good conscience, I couldn't vote for anybody.
Okay.
Because I know Jill Stein is most likely lying about her support for Palestine. So, I just don't want someone who's going to just try to pull votes in and like really, lie about it. And then, Madame Harris, I just, she's pretty much Republican. She's not really a Democrat. And then
speak on it.
But she is, it's true. I mean, she might just say she's not going to take away like certain rights, but she still is at the end of the day, like a Republican. And then, you have Trump, who just wants a dictatorship. So I just feel like either way, where my vote goes, it's not going to be someone who at the end of the day has all of my beliefs and stuff in alignment. And I know, like, yeah, you're supposed to like maybe like put pressure on your politicians, but even when you do, like as we've seen, they don't care. They don't listen to us. So I just feel like, I don't know, I have exhausted my use of the lesser of two evils and all of that. But, I'm not mad at anyone who you voted, as long as you didn't vote for Trump, like, at the end of the day. But, if you voted for whoever you think is better than Trump, that's cool, I guess. But yeah, no, I'm not participating this time around. So I guess y'all can blame me if it all goes to shit, but
we will. We will. Clip this, Ray. We'll come back to this in a few weeks.
Yeah, if he wins California by like 20,000 or 10,000 votes, yeah, we coming back at your front door,
Britney Monae out here on that Michael Jackson tip. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. That was the most militant Michael ever when he was out there in Africa with the kids with the drums. Like Mike, like we don't even recognize this version of you. It's not just because of the plastic surgery. R.I.P. R.I.P. to MJ and Quincy Jones, who we lost this week. Quincy Jones created arguably the greatest TV theme song ever. Ray Williams with Sanford & Son.
Oh,
that was Quincy Jones.
Wow. You think it's the greatest?
That's why I said arguably, right? Like it's in the conversation. Yeah, sure. What is your greatest TV theme show of all time, song of all time, right?
Well, the first one that comes to mind, keeping your hand on the bottom.
Okay, that's a good one.
Good
times. Temporary layoffs, easy credit ripoffs, scratching and surviving. Ain't we lucky we got them? Good times. That was a great song. The Jeffersons, like all the black shows from that era had the best songs. The Jeffersons,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fish don't fry in the kitchen, Brit. Beans
Mhm.
don't burn on the grill. Took a whole lot of trying just to get up that hill.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on up. What's your favorite TV theme song, Brit?
Maybe just because I've been currently watching it, and it's not even like there's no lyrics to it, but I really like the drums on the Buffy the Vampire Slayer I guess theme song. I don't know. I just be sitting there when it's playing. I'm like, "Ta, ta, ta." Yeah, I feel that. So that's where I'm at right now. I've been rewatching Buffy. I'm on
even with your man Joss Whedon being a part of that whole production.
You know what? I'm sorry. That show for the it's obviously very 90s, but I feel like it's one of those things where anyone writing in the 90s probably would have at least done one of the tropes that we know now is like, no. So I said, that being said, unfortunately, Josh Whedon really was doing his thing with Buffy. Like, terrible person.
Yeah.
You know, all that. Especially like in season 5, the episode The Body. That's such a good episode. Not to spoil it for anyone, but if you haven't seen the show, that's the episode where Buffy finds her mom has died from brain aneurysm, and she's just like laying on their couch in the living room, and it's a really good episode because they're all like, Buffy's trying to process this because it's not a supernatural thing that happens to her mom, so it's like it was something that she couldn't prevent because it was a medical thing. So it's a really good episode. So a lot of Buffy, like obviously some of it doesn't hold up because of time-wise versus like just Josh Whedon being a weirdo, you know. That makes sense.
Yeah, he's a fan. He's a fan. Here's another theme song, Ray. It's not in the pantheon of greatest TV theme songs, but it's one that always hits me because there was a specific time period in my life about 5 or 6 years ago where I would watch like the late night NBA games, and then they do the replay on TNT, and you do like inside the NBA, and they just play that until like 3 a.m, and then they would go into reruns, and I would always wake up like at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock the next morning, and Charm would be coming on, OG Charm. And it would always be at the part where my boy was getting it. I'm a human and I need to be loved. Like, I don't even know who sang this damn song. It's very much like whoever sang that damn Smallville theme song. Like they just found white boys that could sing TV theme songs back in the day, and they got you hooked. I was like, you know what? I wasn't planning to start my day watching Charm, but I got 45 minutes to hang out with Shannon Doherty and Holly Marie Combs and Alyssa Milano and the other people on Charm. Let's do it. Chip,
Steve Willie going back in the day. Talk about seeing things early in the morning on TNT back in the day. Chips.
That's how wild it was, man. They made a whole damn show featuring Eric Estrada and the other guy, who I never remember his name, as California highway patrolmen that rode motorcycles and solved crimes that was above their pay grade. TV was wild back then. The damn Dukes of Hazzard, Ray Williams. Yeah. Dukes of Hazzard was a wild show. To me, it's still the only acceptable use of the Confederate battle flag. Like, I still will approve that one specific instance of the Confederate flag is on the General Lee and Dukes of Hazzard. But speaking of Confederate battle flag, let's get back to Britney Monae on these streets, because I'm intrigued, and I'm not saying this as an accusatory thing, because everybody knows, man, I love me some Britney Monae, and I do know that you do care about politics. You do care about the way that politics affects people's lives, both in America and abroad. And so I would ask you, and here's the thing, like Britney's vote, not to say that Britney's vote doesn't matter, because everybody's vote matters, but in a state like California, Britney's vote matters less than it would if Britney lived in Pennsylvania, where it's like that could go either way, whereas Trump ain't winning California, just like Kamala ain't winning Texas. Like, there are certain things that we know are going to happen. But my question to you, Cap, would be, is there anything Kamala Harris could have said or done that would have convinced you to vote for her?
First of all, I think that she being honest about divesting and giving money to Israel, that's like straight up, like, especially when it's like you see as a country that like there's so many people who are, suffering from homelessness and rent is so high and the cost of goods and everything is insane. And we literally, and she's part of the current administration that approved to send billions of dollars to Israel to bomb innocent children, and and not just children, obviously, like there are grown adults, and the Palestinian men are just as valid as Palestinian little girls being bombed. It's not okay. And the fact that like we're here in a country where like our infrastructure sucks, we don't have, honestly, as a whole, we don't have good public transportation, especially in the state of California. There's so many things that are wrong with this country, but it's like, okay, yeah, we have money to send to Israel to like kill innocent children. That's cool. Like, but we don't have money to fix our problems here and our healthcare here. Like, make it make sense, and I know some people are going to be like, oh, well, people don't deserve handouts, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, okay, but we also shouldn't be sending money to kill children. So like, I don't know, like, that's how I feel about it. She's part of that administration that could have done more for us, and they didn't. And not saying that like, obviously Trump would do worse, but it's just like, she's not doing anything, or she does have more power than like probably some people want to admit. So it's just like, she's a part of that, and we're just.
I mean, she does, but she doesn't.
Yeah,
like,
but she.
Real quick, right? I was trying to stay straight because the whole time, like, Britney is getting deep, and I love what Cap had to say. But yes, the chips on the
chips. Yeah,
on the lower
I saw
was
it.
killing me. It was killing me, right? Like,
I was trying to look not at the screen because I was gonna start laughing, and then it would just made my point sound like I really don't care what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was just looking directly. I brought her full screen, and I was just looking directly at her face, and then at the end when I pulled her out for the 3-shot, and I was like, oh, that's still up there.
I was like, Ray, you got to get that off the screen, brother.
Sorry.
But yeah, like I understand your point, Cap. I understand it. I do think though and we don't know until it happens, right? Mm-hmm. We won't know until it happens. But I do think there is a difference between, and she's got a kind of a fine line that she's got to walk. Because even if she believes like 100% opposite of what Joe Biden's doing, she can't say that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like she can't say that while she's still working ostensibly for the dude. Mm-hmm. But I do understand people that are like, she should have done more. She should have said more. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the burden, Ray, of being somebody in the Democratic Party, the party that at least cares to some extent about people, where it's like, if you're Trump, you don't have to care because you don't care. And your voters, like the bloc that's going to vote for you regardless, they don't care what you say about people overseas. They don't care what you say about homeless people in America. They don't care what you say about people on the southern border trying to get into this country to have a better life. But as the Democrat, you got a fine line to walk because you got to appease progressives, moderates. You got to bring in some Republicans, independents. And it's like, I don't think she's done it perfectly, Britt. I do think, given the fact that she had this, like she's only had since August to get this whole thing up and running, I think she's done maybe about as good as somebody could do, given those circumstances, even if it hadn't been perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's similar to what I think it was a debate between when Biden was running the first time against Trump, and Trump was the incumbent, and they were kind of asking Biden, well, you have all this stuff happening in the Obama administration. What are you going to do? Why should we expect something different? And he was just like, because I wasn't the guy back then. So I think that's probably what Kamala's going to pull, is just like, I wasn't the person front and center. I was the backup, and if he tripped and fell and he was out for the season, then maybe I can make some changes. But right now, I'm just the back. I got the headset on. I'm letting my guy know, all right, I think it's a bad idea, but if you good, so
you're saying Joe Biden is David Ruffin in this analogy, and Kamala Harris was Otis, like with the Temptations. Like, hey, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. It's about Joe. It's about David Ruffin.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's more like, it's probably like last year, I would say, if you guys are a fan of the Jets, and sorry,
like the
for
New York Jets.
Yes, New York Jets.
Sorry, my brain went to West Side Story.
I knew Britney was gonna go there.
The Sharks and the Jets.
I was like, Britney's either going West Side Story or she's going. You remember the Jets back in the day, Ray, that had like a couple hits. They tried to make like Hispanic Jackson 5 kind of.
I think so.
Like the Jets they were kind of like El DeBarge too, I guess. They had a couple hits back in the 80s.
I'll have to pull them up.
But I knew Britney was going to musical theater. I knew it. I saw the gears turning.
the American football team.
The New York Football Jets.
Yes. But of course you had Aaron Rodgers, who came in, and clearly he was the guy.
Noted conspiracy theorist.
In the background, you had Zach Wilson, who had his chance, had his opportunity, and he couldn't cash it in. But what do you know? First game of the season, Aaron Rodgers tears like his Achilles, and now he's out for the season. And now Zach Wilson has to step up again. And now he has to figure it out. So I think it's more like that. It's like Joe knows that somebody like the heir apparent is probably behind him, but he's going to do what he has to do. And then the heir apparent is just going to wait patiently until they get their shot. So.
Okay. Ray, bringing it to the gridiron. I see what you did there, Ray. I think the analogy would have hit Britney better if you had gone into a whole Sharks Jets thing. Then she would be on board for your analogy.
It's been a while since I've seen the movie, so all I know is Maria, and what is it? What it's a song. I only remember the song because they used to they sung it in Anger Management, that Adam Sandler comedy.
I Feel Pretty.
I Feel Pretty. Yes.
Oh, was that from West Side Story?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes, when she like gets ready for the dance and she's like, oh. She's hoping, she's hoping that she'll meet a boy, but she wasn't expecting to meet, a boy like that who kill your brother.
Somebody from the wrong side of the tracks. The only songs I know from that musical are, and the only reason I do know them is because In Living Color did a parody of them. Like I remember Maria, and then I also remember like When You're a Jet. Da, 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 da. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Living Color did a wonderful parody of that back in the day that probably couldn't be made on TV these days. One last thing on politics before we switch to another topic. So, any predictions? Ray Williams, for those that don't know, we have an episode of the 2020 Twin Up where Chris and I did a deep dive into Kamala Harris, the current campaign, and then also we played clips from an episode 4 years ago where we were talking about her then campaign as a senator for president. And Chris is of the belief that Kamala Harris wins a narrow victory. More to the point, if she finds a way to flip North Carolina, Chris says it's game over. Chris says it's ball game. At least that's what I understood from the professor. Ray, where are you at? Do you feel like tomorrow or tonight or 3 days from now we'll be sleeping a little bit, slightly more peacefully, or are we back? Are we back in the darkest timeline, baby?
Well, I'm thinking it will also be a narrow Harris victory. I'm hoping that it'll be wide enough to where no issues will be addressed, because as far as certifying the elections in certain parts of the country, hopefully it's just enough to where it's like, all right, you got beat, dog. You can't say it's this. You can't say it's the ballot machines. You can't say
it's not gonna matter, Ray. He's already saying it's rigged.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, though. And I think we're in a better place now with the Biden administration being in power. I think back then, like he had the available platform since he was the current president to kind of voice these things, and that's why he was out there with like the Stop the Steal folks.
I need you to find 12 million votes. Just find 12 million. That's all I need.
But
Herschel Walker, get in here and do your black job, Herschel.
But I just think I think hopefully we've learned from the past, because I've been seeing like clips of these like conservative, like Fox News and these conservative pundits talking about why are people still talking about what happened in the past? Because as the old adage goes, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Okay.
Like if you continue to voice these things and say you didn't lose and nobody's challenging you, then you're going to come up like now 2024, where now they're going to have another opportunity to try to steal the election or to have another insurrection. But I hope that with Biden being in place, that they're putting in safeguards to make sure that things like that don't happen at the Capitol, to make sure that things don't happen at these local jurisdictions, as far as like making sure that everything is certified the way it's supposed to be certified. So we'll see what happens. But I do think that Harris wins narrowly. I just think like the wave behind her right now is just like at the ceiling right now. I think with the push that she's making, not only with her going to all of these different like media sources and going on to these different platforms and trying to reach people where they are, but even going on a Fox News and holding like herself accountable and like standing up for what she believes in and things like that. I think a lot of people are seeing what she's made of. Of course, like you mentioned, Nate, there are going to be people who are already set in stone. They're MAGA till they die. They got the hat on, got the t-shirt, got the bumper sticker, got everything. But I think that there are enough independents and undecideds that will turn up and see that it's not a vote for a person, it's a vote for our democracy. And I hate to be dramatic, but it's just like it's a vote to make sure that, okay, we don't, like you mentioned, Brittany, we don't all agree with the platform that Kamala Harris has, but I think it's fair to assume that it'll be a lot easier to at least voice opinions against Kamala Harris if she wins versus voicing opinions against Donald Trump and then him sending National Guard after me. So I just think that like I'm not trying to live in an autocracy. I'm not trying to live in a dictatorship. And kind of in your boat, I'm the same way as far as Maryland. When it comes to we know he's not winning Maryland.
Yeah.
Like he's not touching. Maryland is another like fully blue state, kind of in the vein of California, but I still want to make my voice heard because in the last two elections I did write-in ballots because I wasn't really feeling Hillary like that, and I wasn't really feeling Biden like that the first time. And kind of like I was kind of like you, Brett, where I was just like, yeah, this lesser of two evils. But now that I think about it, and I think somebody mentioned this, I think I was watching like some clips and somebody mentioned like, this isn't the lesser two evils. We know what the evil side is. It's like, just because like Kamala, I mean, and I do take your points into consideration, Brittany, when you're talking about like her being on the side that's giving money to Israel, things like that. But like Trump was pretty much hailing Netanyahu up, like he was kind of holding up like no one could be as high as Putin in Donald's eyes, but he was kind of holding them up, not Benjamin Netanyahu up there. Like, so it's kind of like I really want to see somebody who's reasonable and has the mental capacity to at least take the criticism while they're in there and not going to go after the press or go after people who simply disagree with them. So
and somebody who can be voted out if she doesn't do a good job.
Indeed.
Because if Trump don't do a good job, he might change up the whole game on us. You know what I'm saying? He'd be like, Clarence Thomas, can you go ahead and take your vacation so I can bring a young justice up in here? So we can have the Supreme Court on lock for a minute.
That's why he was saying in that one not press conference, but in that one campaign rally that he had, I love you, beautiful Christians. Just come out once. You'll never have to do it again. You never have to vote. You never have to do it again. I'm like,
I didn't know who that's supposed to be, Ray Williams. That doesn't sound a thing like me. I have the very best voice of all. Britney Monae knows it. Ray, stick to your black job, okay? But I think, and I'll toss it to Britt here in a second, and then we can go to our next talking point. But I think it is going to be a narrow Harris victory just because of the coalition. Because not only do you have Democrats, not only do you have like Republicans. Like I never thought I'd see the day where the damn Cheney family is endorsing a Democrat. Like Dick Cheney, one of the most evil people in the game, in the history of the game, and him and his daughter endorsing Kamala. Like you got Republicans, Democrats, you got LeBron James, you got Taylor Swift, you got a bunch of pissed off Puerto Ricans who are mad at that idiot comic from the other night. Like there are people that are just I don't even think people are voting for, I'm not gonna say the majority of people, but I don't think everybody who is voting for Harris is voting for her because of policies in particular, outside of abortion, because I do think that is a strong issue on the ballot. But I think people are just like, hey, we don't know about you, lady, but we know about him. And we know they not like us. Like we can't rock with that. Cap, what is your prediction? End of the night or end of this week? Will it be President-elect Harris or will it be Trump too? Election boogaloo.
I feel like it will more likely be Harris, also by a slim margin. But yeah, and I guess for me too, it's just like I don't know about you guys, but I really have seen a lot of the images from Palestine. So for me, that's why I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna like, and I feel like if you have not seen multiple videos and photos of parents holding their babies' bodies in like, Target plastic bags, like the only way I can like describe the type of bags they are, like, those like grocery store bags or seeing like the images of the children with their heads have been blown off, or and I feel like if you've not consistently seen those images, it's easier maybe to like be like, okay, I do gotta vote for Harris. But for me, I've seen it, and to know that she kind of has been like, and she's also admitted, there is a genocide, but still vote for me. Like, the fact that she kind of like made it seem like it's not that big of a deal, when I'm like, no, I've literally seen, kids hanging from sides of the building because they're dead and their body happened to fall there. And adults with even their arms like completely blown off. And so I think until you have seen all of that stuff, it's just harder to really be like, I'm okay with this. Cause I'm not, for me, it's just like, I'm really not. So
nobody should be. So I just feel like I have seen a lot of it. Just because I do have a lot of like, especially online, I do have a lot of Muslim friends. My dad is Muslim, and not saying that every single Palestinian is Muslim, because a lot of them are, people don't know, but a lot of Palestinians are actually Christian, because that's where Christianity kind of like, and Jesus, that's where Jesus is from. Jesus is actually Palestinian. So I think like, I've just the images that I've seen is just like, I can't in good faith vote for any of the two, really. And then I know, Jill Stein is a fucking liar. So yes, who can't win anyway, just by the mathematics of it all. Like there's no shot that she can even place.
And I don't know why he thought it was a good idea, but anybody who's being endorsed by David Duke, like you have lost my vote already, sister.
I mean, that plays in some parts of the country, right, William?
Some parts, not mine.
Hey, hold on, you talking about the David Duke, the Grand Wizard? He back on these streets?
Yeah, but I do feel bad for the people who are voting for her, because she's really tried to be pro-Palestinian and with like a lot of her stuff. And I do feel bad for anyone who voted for her thinking that because she's saying that genocide is bad, that like she's gonna be a better choice. I do feel sorry if like that's why you voted for her, because I very much understand, like, you've seen the images and you're just like,
I mean, she will be a better choice, but better is relative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's obviously going to be better than the other option, because it is a binary choice, but better is kind of like, better still not good.
No. which I feel like it's unfair that we are in this situation in general where it's like we have to consistently choose between like, okay, this is definitely better than, you know, Trump. Like, I hate that that's the place that we're in, that, you know, I don't know. It shouldn't be like that we're constantly having to kind of choose from the lesser of like two evils. And I just feel like it shouldn't be like this anymore. But I don't know what can really be done to stop it, because it's just consistently the last few elections have been like that.
Yeah, I was saying last night, Ray, we haven't had a normal election since 2012.
Yeah.
Like 2016 wasn't normal with Trump and Clinton. 2020 wasn't normal with Trump and Biden. And 2024 is certainly not normal with Trump and Harris. There is a common denominator to all of those elections that aren't normal. But yeah, like it's a damn shame, Britney Monae, that I have to long for the halcyon days of George W. Bush. Like, remember when it was just like good old fashioned racism and bigotry? It wasn't super Saiyan bigotry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me some of that good old racism, Ray Williams. Some of that old timey racism on these streets.
It reminds me
old timey.
Yes, the further back you go, it does get a little too old timey. I was watching Django the other night, and I was like, "Oh, I bet you Donald Trump loves parts of this movie."
That's what that question always comes up. Is like, when you're making America great again, like, when was America ever great? And it's like, if you go too far back, then it wasn't great for everybody. Exactly, for who? Right.
You know what's a great time, and I feel like this is a good way to kind of pivot off of the politics. Just thinking about time frames in America. All right, so thought exercise. We can each pick a time to go back to in the history of America, and by the virtue of this time machine that we have, this time machine apparatus, Ray, it removes all characteristics that would have us oppressed in that time period, so we can appear to the people in that time period however we need to look to fit in. So Britney could be like a straight 6 foot tall white man if she needed to be to fit in that time. I could be like a beautiful white woman with blonde flowing locks if I need to fit into this particular time. Ray Williams, you could be a Cambodian man. I just want to throw something different in there. A Cambodian man in Cambodia if you wanted to fit into that time.
I you said only in America, though.
I did. Like, I realized it after I said it, Brittany, but I was already out there, so I had to continue with the thought. But so, Ray, I'll let you go first, and then I'll give Britt time to think, because I've got an answer in my head. Any time period in America with this special time machine created by Elon Musk that can mask all of our ethnicity and sexuality if need be, and gender if need be, where would you go, Ray Williams, and why?
Ooh,
go ISO with it.
Of course, you make me answer first. Well, first of all, anything that's created by Elon Musk, I'm already second guessing. I'm definitely not going to put like the auto drive on. I don't know, man. I take some time to think about. I think about it. It's like, I mean, like, really don't want anything before 1900. No, right off the bat. Like, even if I change up, like, I don't really want to change the core of who I am. And so I don't know. Like, I'm thinking, like, man. Oh, well, I mean, it didn't last long, but the roaring 20s.
Okay, cook Ray Williams, cook.
When I think about it, it's like, ooh, like, just being out there. Like, I'm big into music, and so just being like in the birthplace of Duke Ellington,
Harlem Renaissance.
Yeah, like Ella Fitzgerald coming down and singing every now and then, and the Satchmo. I don't know if he's. I think he was the 50s. I don't know if Satchmo was that old, but back in the 30s, just like Chubby Checker, like all those straight. I think Chubby Checker.
Chubby Checker wasn't in the 30s. Like he was like,
yeah, he was
my
later.
parents or grandparents.
Like
Like
somebody Count Basie. That's
Count, yes. Like
Count
Chubby Checker.
Basie.
Like I'm just out here trying to twist, baby.
So
Chubby Checker did a song with the Fat Boys in like the 80s, Ray. He
really?
wasn't born in no damn 1930s.
Yeah, I forget. I was just throwing out random black musicians back in the day. But yeah, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, those guys, Langston Hughes coming up in those days, like the Black Renaissance. You know what? Yeah, put me in Harlem in the Black Renaissance in the 1920s, and right before, and take me out before the Great Depression comes.
Excellent answer, Ray Williams. I'm gonna go next, Britt, because me and Ray, we did not plan this. Same answer, bro. That's exactly where I was thinking. And not only for the reasons you described, like just to be a part of the Harlem Renaissance, but with this technology that Elon Musk designed, I can hang out with the fam in Harlem, but I can also go across town where the white folks talk like this. See? Yeah, see? Muggsy, who's this new palooka walking into the bar? See? He's taking up all the floozies, see?
Was that prohibition? Not prohibition.
That was like bootlegger times.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Like
you be running numbers.
And another question, like, why did that accent go away? Like that was a strong accent. Like
it was dope.
Every gangster in those movies back in the day, Britney like talked like that, and now nobody talks like that.
Right. Like,
would you prefer take this monk for a ride?
Would you prefer that over like the current New York accent? Like,
I absolutely
shout out New York.
I absolutely would. Like I here's the thing: if you're going to call me a racial slur, I'd rather you do it in 20s gangster voice, because at least then it's like okay, like Bugsy Malone just called me the N-word. That's weird, but okay. Versus random dude with a tiki torch calling me the N-word. It doesn't have the same gravitas as far as slurs go. But yeah, the 20s, like you said, cut off at the Great Depression. Like that's when we get to go back home. But yeah, just like I'd want to be like, again, I'd run moonshine during the day with the white folks, and then at night I'd go up to Harlem with the moonshine that I just ran and hang out with Count Basie and Ella Fitzgerald. Like, hey Ella, I got that peppermint moonshine you like, girl. Yes, that's. I'm so glad you said that, Ray. Like just walking into a speakeasy, right?
Right.
Speakeasy.
Damn, George. Let me holler at you, girl.
Come on now. So yeah, we 2 for 2 on the 20s, Ray. We didn't even plan that. Britney Monae, where are you going in America? And why are you going back to visit Alexander Hamilton?
No, actually. As much as I love Hamilton the musical, my favorite person to exist in history is Marilyn Monroe, my fellow Gemini sun sister. We're also both Aries Venus and Mars Pisces. That's my soul sister. And I think if I got to just actually meet her and have a conversation with her would probably be really cool. As a kid, I used to think that she was like my imaginary friend too. So I don't know if I was actually like seeing her ghost as a kid or whatever, but yeah, so I've always felt just very strongly, deeply connected to Miss Norma Jean. So I would love to meet her and talk to her. But you know, she was also someone who I think would surprise a lot of people, that she was very like, you know, pro civil rights. She is actually one of the people who helped Ella Fitzgerald play at like a club in Hollywood that they were kind of like, no, only white people can perform here. And you know, she was also very like, she also like was very humanitarian, though, kind of like Angelina Jolie, another fellow Gemini. So I just think that she would have been someone really cool. But you know, I do love the fashion in the 1920s. So I totally understand the like, you know, 1920s, the whole bootlegger gangster thing is cool.
I can see Britney as a flapper girl.
Yeah. I've always wanted to be able to do the transatlantic accent. As an actor, that's like, oh, if I could do that accent, it would be like peaches. Oh gosh, yeah.
Brittany had a good answer too. Like I think that might be my runner-up because not only like that Marilyn Monroe time, but that's also like the height of like the Rat Pack
in Hollywood.
with, Sammy Davis and Dean Martin and Sinatra and them cats. I could like jump in front of the bullet that was meant for JFK and be like a hero and completely change the course of American history.
Oh gosh,
you'd be like, who is this random Negro that just saved the president? Because that's exactly what the reporter would say. Young colored man, how did you save the president?
They put that in the paper too.
Colored man saves the country. But yeah, those are all good answers. I wonder, anybody that's watching, is there a time period in American history that you would want to visit if your safety was insured? Because I think the 20s, and then like what time frame is that? Like the 60s, Britt?
Marilyn Monroe died in like 1960, 61. So she was like 40s and 50s.
Like the 50s, yeah. Okay.
The 50s, yeah.
Yeah, because you could probably go hang out with like when you're done hanging out with Marilyn Monroe, you could go hang out with Lucille Ball and Desi
I would like to
Arnaz.
hang out with James Dean too. Hello.
Okay, James Dean.
I mean, because Eartha Kitt did say she had some fun with James Dean and Marlon Brando, and I would be like, hey.
I mean, Quincy Jones has some stories about Marlon Brando.
Let me join the party.
But yeah, like that's like the Ricky Ricardo and Lucy, like that's kind of their time frame too. Like, yeah, that's some good stuff.
Thinking about the 70s too, when you had like black exploitation, like, and if I could be a prime Soul Train dancer, bro, all the ladies,
a prime Soul Train dancer.
Just
shoot your
like
shot with Rosie Perez
in the heights of Soul Train. I'd be like,
just Ray and Rosie Perez, just going down the Soul Train line. I can see it. I'm manifesting that for you, Ray.
Perez, she fine even to this day.
Rosie Perez, yeah. Yes, and White Man Can't Jump, still one of my favorite movies ever. But yeah, that was a good fun thought exercise. Britney Monae.
Mm-hmm.
What surprised you or made you happy this past week? Anything that comes to mind? Because I've got an answer, and I want to know if Ray's got an answer. Anything that made you surprised or happy, or both this past week?
Yeah. So if anyone pays attention to my social media, they know that I love going to emo pop punk shows, and on Sunday, I went to the Troubadour in LA and saw two of my favorite of the newer crop of bands, Broadside and Bearings co-headliner tour, which last time I went to the Troubadour was in 2008 to see Fall Out Boy when they did a last minute show, and it was like $20 and it was like first come first serve. So it was really nice to go back there and to see Broadside and Bearings, who are two of like my favorite of the newer set of bands that are out there now. And I got to meet Ryan Cooligan, I think that's how you say his last name, from Bearings, who is the guitarist, and he also happens to be my favorite member of the band. And I also met Dominic from Broadside as well. It was a good time. And then this one band who opened for them, which some people might know them because of their cover of Fast Car, is pretty popular. Unwell is the name of the band. They're from Detroit, Michigan, and they were the main opener before Broadside came on, and they were so good. I got to meet them too. I'm actually wearing their band shirt, which you can't fully see it, but it says Epiphany for one of their songs. It was such a good time. I love going to small shows like that. And yeah, it was fun.
Okay, good stuff. Yes. If anybody that does not know, when Britney Monae is not at work or doing podcasts, she can probably be found at one of these concerts on these streets.
Yeah, this is my second time seeing Broadside this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ray Williams, anything that surprised you or made you happy or surprisingly happy this past week?
I mean, I'll be brief with mine. The fact that I had this is the fourth straight day off that I had, so that has made me happy.
You didn't get fired, did you, Ray?
No, I didn't. Not this time.
Not this time.
Ray is like, I am happily and surprisingly unemployed, ladies and gentlemen.
No, yesterday we were grading. If you guys don't already know, I am a school teacher, as Brother Nate likes to say, at the shoot job. I'm a school teacher, and so we had our grading day to mark the end of the quarter yesterday. So no, the kids were off, but I just went up to try to get some work done. And then, of course, with today being a federal holiday, I believe, for election day, that means I got 4 straight days off, including the weekend. So that made me happy. I'm a simple man, Nate.
This man Ray was out here with. If you don't know Brittany, Ray has a company car for the Kings of Sport. He's got a pre-owned Lexus, and he been riding in them Maryland streets all weekend long because he ain't had to be at work.
Like I said, I just drove up to drop my ballot off yesterday. That's the most driving I had to do, I think.
But it worked out. It worked out because all 3 of us were off today. So I had something that made me surprisingly happy last week. As a matter of fact, it might have been like last week to the day, last Tuesday, I want to say. So I got a Facebook call from somebody who I hadn't, like, I've talked to them like on social media for a little minute, but I haven't spoken to this person and been able to hear their voice in years. And longtime listeners of the show know that in 2013, I was briefly in Canada, and then I was subsequently not in Canada anymore, right? And out of the blue, Tuesday night, the little Facebook Messenger phone call thing comes on. I'm like, who is calling me at like 7 o'clock, 7:30 at night? It's the X-Ray.
Oh.
The X is calling. And I had a moment, Cap, where I was like, do I even want to pick up the phone? Not that we're on bad terms or anything, but it's like I literally have not talked to this person with like vocally in at least 5 or 6 years. Like not that we're, like I said, we're on pretty good terms. Like we're friends, but we're like friends that don't talk every day. Hell, Brittany knows, like as busy as I am, even if we are friends like that, we don't talk every day because I ain't got the time, Ray Williams. So I was like, you know what? Let me pick up the phone. Like my fight or flight kicked in, Ray, because I ain't had no time to get ready. I was like, it was after work, man. I just ate dinner, had me a couple beers. I was like in chill mode, wasn't gonna talk to nobody else for the rest of the day. And I'm like, you know what? Let me pick up this phone call. And we was on the video call for like an hour and some change, Ray Williams. Just talking, catching up. You know, the first real conversation, like in terms of an in-depth conversation that we've had since I left Canada. Outside of like the weeks that we were arguing once I got back from Canada. Like this is the first real good conversation that we've had. And it made me happy, Ray Williams. It made me happy that this person is still in my life, man, even though we're not in each other's lives in the capacity that we thought we were going to be. Like there was a reason that there was a connection in the first place. And we've got each other's backs. And so like that was an unexpected, surprising thing that made me happy. Cause I like I said, Ray, I didn't think that was going to happen. And if I had known it was going to happen, I might not have picked up the phone, Ray.
Right.
Cause a lot of times I have to be in the kind of headspace to like, even to talk to people that I don't have that kind of history with. I have to be in a headspace to talk to people after work. Cause I've been talking to people for 12 hours.
Right.
And I may have had a podcast that night. So it's like, I'm done talking. But yeah, we had a good conversation. And so I appreciate her. Yeah, that was good. It was good. I was like, okay, I don't know what this means, but it was nice. Sometimes nice is good, Britt.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you, like you said, you got to end it on good terms, and then you guys could still be friends, because a lot of people lose sight of, like you said, a lot of people lose sight of what attracted people to one another in the first place, and it's not always just romantic stuff. It could be just the companionship and just the friendship that you built, and then that grew into a romance at one time. But just because the romance is done doesn't mean like you lost like caring about the person. So
Yeah, I think especially for us, because that was the bulk of the beginning of our relationship was just conversations, because that's all we could do. Because she was there and I was here, and so like after 2 or 3 weeks, Britney Monae, you could tell if somebody ain't shit. You can tell if somebody wasting your time. You can tell if somebody is perpetrating like Ray Williams out here with a Lexus picture in his profile. He ain't got no damn Lexus. He got a Toyota Corolla trying to front like it's a Lexus.
I got the decal. I got the Lexus.
He got the Lexus decal on the side of the Toyota Corolla.
That's crazy. This feels very personally targeted.
Right?
Always. Always, Britney.
It's all love, Ray Williams. You need to stop lying to these young ladies on these streets, though. Show them the real Ray Williams. If they love you, they'll love you for your Camry. The Corolla. I forgot which car I gave you.
It is a Camry. It's a little bit more spacious than a Corolla.
Than a Corolla.
No shame to Corolla. My mama have a Corolla, but
I need
the leg room. Yes, I need the leg room.
But yeah, that was a cool moment. Before we get to our game, because we do have a game, I want to.
Real quick, Nate, I did want to have one quick honorary mention of a thing that I was pleasantly surprised by, and that is my Washington Commanders 7-2. I couldn't imagine that. We are and on the Kings of Sport Network, so if
that's right.
Sports just a little bit, but man. I couldn't imagine in my wildest dreams we 7-2. Jaden Daniels isn't.
Y'all got a real quarterback.
Yeah, he looking good. So yeah, but that's my quick honorary mention.
The irony of this is, out of all the people in LA that we could have had as the first test subject for the parlay, we brought on the one person who doesn't care about the damn Dodgers after they just won the World Series.
That is true.
My favorite baseball team is the Rockefeller Peaches.
Hey, that's
a league of their own?
That's a hell of a movie.
Thank you. Love that movie.
That's a hell of a movie.
The only thing I know about baseball is there's no crying in baseball.
Man, look, I ain't gonna lie, Ray Williams. You know, we got to be, as men, we got to be in touch with our emotions, especially as black men in this world. I ain't gonna lie. Every time I watch that movie, regardless of where that movie pops up when I'm flipping through the channels, I'll always stick around until the end of the movie. Because my favorite part, like there's so many great parts in the movie. Tom Hanks doing his thing, Gina Davis doing her thing, Lori Petty doing her thing. The part where Madonna's like, well, what if I accidentally slip and my bosoms fall out? And Rosie O'Donnell's like, you acting like there's men in this country that ain't seen your bosoms. And I think that's a funny line, Rosie. But my favorite part of the whole movie, Ray, and it get me every time, when them old ladies is at the damn museum at the end of the show. And you got I thought it was Gina Davis for the longest time, Brittany. That was the old lady at the end because she looks so much like her, but it's like a totally different actress that's playing like old Dottie at the end of the movie. And then you got her sister, and they finally made up. And then you got my boy Stillwell, who was like the little chubby kid that was annoying the whole time, and he's all grown up. And they're like, "What happened to your mom?" He's like, "Oh, mom passed away." And it's like, "Oh," and then they start singing a damn All-American Girls Baseball League song, and then they cut to Madonna, Britney Monae. This used to be my playground, and they show all the old ladies playing baseball, and it's amazing. Gets me every time, Ray. I watch it to the end of the credits where the old lady strikes out and she's like, that wasn't a strike. And the umpire's like, yesterday that might not have been a strike. Tomorrow that might not have been a strike. But today that's a strike. Produced by Touchstone Films. I don't know who produced it. That was the first studio that came to my mind. But yeah, A League of Their Own is a fantastic movie. Is that your favorite sports movie, Britt?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. What about you, Ray?
Favorite sports movie? Friday Night Lights, hands down.
Ooh. You know what? I do like that movie because I always think of the scene with Tim McGraw where he taped the football onto Garrett Hedlund's head. It's like, can he drop the ball now? And I was like, damn, that is so mean. I cried for him because I was like, that's so mean.
That man was
accurate though.
That is true.
They take football serious down there.
Yeah, but he really acted that part really well. I was like, damn, that's crazy. He's a mean dad.
Yeah, that movie is so good. It actually it made me want to read the book. And if you
Mhm.
guys don't know, like I like reading as far as like listening to audiobooks and gaining information, but with my eyeballs, I have lazy eyeballs. I don't feel like reading, and it takes me a while. I'm not a fast reader, so I got to break down paragraph by paragraph. So, but that made me want to go out and get the book, and like the book just talks about like the history of oil in the in that region, and then it talks about just not just the football team, but like the situation surrounding the football team and like the racial dynamics going on during the time and stuff like that. And then what was going on with like the football team that was going against Permian in the state championship and what happened with them. I think they were like the Dallas something like, but and like the stuff that they went through. I think that was like in the epilogue. But yeah, it's some deep stuff. I didn't get into the TV show as much because
I like the TV. Well, the TV show, I feel like after a while it kind of fell off, but I like the first few seasons.
Yeah, I just watched the movie and I felt like the movie was like just gritty and succinct enough. Like I didn't want to go back, especially like you ain't got Billy Bob in there. You ain't got none of the other people.
Hey, you know who they did have in there though? That like one of the first projects he really popped off in though was Aldous Hodge on these streets.
Oh yeah, Aldous Hodge
was one of his first major roles.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, yep.
Yeah.
My man that messed up his career with John Carter of Mars, like he was hot for a second, and then that movie ended his. Is it Taylor Kitchens?
I think so.
That movie messed up his whole career. Like he ain't had no more career after John Carter of Mars. Like damn, that's a good sports movie. I'm gonna tell you though, it's hard because there's a lot of great sports movies like Major League. I love Major League. Like that's another movie.
Bud up there.
Air Bud. No, because there should be a rule in the rule book that says a dog can't play no damn basketball, Brittany.
But he's good at it. I love Air Bud.
You gonna have me out here like these Republicans that are so mad about transgender athletes that want to play sports? Like the Bible says a dog can't play basketball, Britney Monae. It's an abomination.
That reminds me of like. Yeah, that reminds me of like the whole slate of animals playing sports. Like I went to the movie theater to watch. I think
didn't they make like an Air Bud football where he played for like Notre Dame? It was like Air Bud Golden Retriever.
So. And it was like an orangutan and Matt LeBlanc together on a minor league baseball team.
Wow.
I'm like, what is going on?
Matt LeBlanc. But I'm gonna tell you, Ray, my favorite, and then this answer could change from time to time, just because there's so many great sports movies. But like A League of Their Own and Major League, those are two of my favorites. Like Major League is excellent. Like, and AEW, like Major League is another one that gets me, Ray, in my feelings, because like AEW had the show in Cleveland the other night, and they played that song by the singer who I can't remember his name, but it's Randy
Newman.
Randy Newman, yes. He sings "I Love L.A." and "Short People" and all songs like that. But he's got that song about Cleveland, and they used it in the puff piece to promote the AEW wrestling show from Cleveland. But whenever Major League starts and they're showing you the scenes of this downtrodden city that birthed the great Vanessa Shark, and you just got Randy Newman in the background, roll on, big river. Roll on. I'm just like, these poor people in Cleveland. The only thing they got to root for is these weak ass Indians with Charlie Sheen and Wesley Snipes. Maybe this ragtag bunch of nobodies could become somebodies in this game. But I'm gonna say, Ray, right now, as of November 5th, 2024, my favorite sports movie, Ray Williams. Left Side.
Strong Side.
Yes, there it is. The Titans, man. The Titans, Ray Williams.
Remember the Titans.
You didn't. Wait a minute. Hold up. How come I know that and you don't?
Like, yeah, Ray. Come on, Ray.
I wasn't big into remember. Person. Like, I seen bits and pieces.
There we go. For the next 5 minutes, Ray. For the next 5 minutes, Ray, you've been demoted. That's a little treat for the people watching the video version of this episode. You don't remember the Titans, Ray?
I remember bits and pieces. I haven't seen the movie all the way through. I heard it.
What?
It's really good.
It's on Disney Plus.
Like you could literally watch it anytime, Ray.
If I had a subscription, I do.
Do you need my guest log? Wait a minute, I ain't gonna say that out loud on the internet. Mickey got shooters. I was gonna say you can use my guest login.
Well, I'll just say I have ways, not nefarious
means.
No, but I have other friends who can provide me some information. So
some information.
I'll be all right. I'll be all right. I'll put. It's just I've been so busy. It's so much stuff to catch up on. But yeah, I will. By the next time we had a parlay, I will have seen. Watch
that movie is amazing, Ray. Like all the people that was in that movie. Denzel, Ryan Gosling, my man from Scrubs, Donald Faison, who was Petey. Who else was in that movie that was real good? Ethan Suplee from My Name Is Earl.
I love Ethan Suplee.
Wood Harris is in that movie.
Hayden Panettiere.
Hayden, yes. Before she was a cheerleader to save the world, she was the little girl on Remember the Titans. Ray, a story about a small town in Virginia that was divided by race but united by football. Ray,
yes.
Everywhere they go, people want to know who they are, Ray. So they tell them, we are the Titans, the mighty, mighty Titans. I'm ashamed of you right now, Ray Williams. I love you, but I'm ashamed of you. Britney Monae might not know sports, but she knows good movies, Ray Williams.
I'm sorry. I will watch it. I'll make sure I pledge right now.
Like that feels like a movie that was like should be in your wheelhouse, Ray. Like it's a Disney movie and it's a football movie.
It came out
and
a while
Denzel's
ago.
in it.
Denzel's in it, yes. Like your blackness should have compelled you to see that movie.
Blackness compels. I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, I watched bits and pieces, like I said, and then I think when it came out on like cable, I watched a bit of it, but
it's got to be getting close to like the 20th anniversary or something of that movie.
It has to be, yeah.
I think
that was a great movie. Maybe that'll be whenever if we ever revive our live watch film series that now currently consists of just one episode. We've got to add that to the list. We've got to add Remember the Titans to the list. We adding Josie and the Pussycats to the list. You don't know nothing about that, Ray Williams?
Oh, I know a little bit about Josie and the Pussycats.
Wow, so you watched Josie and the Pussycats when
I didn't say I watched it. I just say I know about it.
He's like, I know about Rosario Dawson.
I have the soundtrack.
Oh, the soundtrack is actually pretty good.
I love that movie. Sometimes I'll be singing songs from that movie.
Me and my roommate, like who was a pothead, like this is about 7 years ago. Again, a lot of interesting things happened to me about 7 years ago, Ray. My roommate, who was a pothead at the time, one of the things we would always do whenever he got high, and I'd have a little bit, but I'm not a big stoner because I don't like feeling paranoid. And if I have too much, I feel paranoid. So like we had just like finished the smoke sesh, and he's like, I'm going to make us dinner. I'm like, okay, go ahead, make us dinner. And this fool made stovetop stuffing. Okay, stovetop stuffing, Kraft macaroni and cheese, and bologna, like fried bologna. I'm like, dog, you had 2/3 of it, right? Like, and the sad part is we had like turkey, like the Jenny O turkey comes in like a little cube, you slice it up. We could have just thrown the Jenny O turkey in with the stuffing, and we'd have had like Thanksgiving, even though it was the middle of summer. So he had the fried bologna. I'm just like, I'm just gonna fill up on sides. But we would either watch like whatever game was on, or we'd watch wrestling, or we would watch either like Dave Chappelle, like we had the Dave Chappelle show complete series, so we'd watch that, or we would watch Josie and the Pussycats because we got it at Walmart for like $2, and we wore that movie out. That and Tropic Thunder, we wore them two movies.
I love Tropic Thunder.
When we was high, Ray Williams.
Gosh, don't get me started.
And if you got the DVD, you got the bonus music videos. I'm talking about Backdoor Lover. You don't know nothing about that, Ray Williams.
I really
talking about Round the World with De Jour, Ray Williams. You don't know nothing about that.
Not at all.
Brittany knows, but you don't know, Ray. That movie is excellent. And it's got like one of my favorite actresses in the whole entire world that's not in enough stuff, and I would put her in everything. Can you guess who it is, Britney Monae?
Is it it's either Rosario Dawson or Rachel Lee Cook.
Ooh, close but neither.
Tara Reid?
No, hell no. No offense, Tara Reid. Loved you in Sharknado.
Missy, is it her name Missy Pyle or something like that?
No, Missy Pyle's cool, but it's not Missy Pyle. So like there's one key female left in that whole cast.
Oh, I can't remember her name, but the one
Rachel
with the
Blue or
She was
Rachel
in Blade Trinity.
Huh?
She was in Blade Trinity with
Let's
Ryan
Be
Reynolds and
Lisa.
Wesley Snipes. Yes.
Isn't it Let's Be
Parker
Lisa?
Posey.
That's her name. I never know.
Parker
remember her
Posey
actual name.
is like a weird actress, but every time she's in something, I love Parker Posey. And I'm like, she should be in all the things.
Yeah.
She was in that Superman movie with Brandon Routh that wasn't any good except for Brandon Routh. She was like Miss Tessmacher in that Superman Returns movie. But yeah, Parker Posey, one of the best parts of Blade Trinity, which isn't hard, but still it's something. But yeah, we had a wonderful tangent right there. Now I'll return you to your rightful place after you've served your punishment for not knowing Remember the Titans, Ray. Seriously.
Served my time. And by the way, it's coming up on the 25th anniversary.
Oh, shit.
It came out in 2000. Yeah.
That one hit Brittany hard.
Yeah, it hit me hard too.
Hey, getting older is a blessing, Ray Williams.
It is.
That is true. That is true.
It's a blessing. Some people don't have this opportunity.
Indeed.
Let's see. I think it's time to go to our game, Ray.
All right.
So every episode of the Parlay, we're going to close things out with a little game that we like to call the 3-leg parlay. And this is the place where if we actually had time to think of stuff and add production elements, we'd have like some snazzy theme music. Maybe Ray and I can cook something up for the next time for the 3-leg parlay. Da, 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 da. Actually, Ray, you know what? Go to the music and give me Ducks in the Park. That's going to be a Ducks on the Pond. That's going to be the 3-leg parlay music for this week.
All right, let's see.
Give me a little Ducks on the Pond.
I don't know if we had that in the in our branding.
I thought I saw it.
Is that a Mighty Ducks reference?
Well, let me pull up.
No, it isn't.
Now my brain is stuck in sports.
Stuck on Disney sports movies. Did you watch the Mighty Ducks series?
I had started it, but I never finished it, and I need to because I actually enjoyed it when I was watching it.
I'm glad Emilio's getting work. I like Emilio.
All right, let's see. Oh, Feeding the Ducks. There we go.
Feeding the Ducks, yes. Uh-oh. Turn it up a little bit, just slightly.
A little bit more?
Yeah, a little bit more. That's a little more sultry than I wanted, but we'll go with it, Ray.
I know.
But real quick, talking about Emilio Estevez, one of my favorite jokes ever was from the Comedy Central roast of Charlie Sheen with the late, great Patrice O'Neal, underrated comic. And he was like, Charlie Sheen, I'm just here because of you. I don't like any of your movies, your work. It's all very Christian Slatery. Like, you're good, but you suck, but you're good. But the films that you do suck. But I'm here for you in the stand you took against Hollywood. And it just goes to show you can't keep a Sheen down. And then he took a pause as you know, Charlie Sheen was just like, thank you, brother. And he's like, yeah, you can't keep a Sheen down, but you can damn sure keep an Estevez down because your brother ain't done shit in years, and he's the good one. He does everything right, and that brother's career is over. And I was like, wow, beautiful joke by a wonderful, wonderful comedian. Much better than that bum comedian Trump had at Madison Square Garden the other night. It pissed off all our Puerto Rican brothers and sisters. Yes, let's get back to the sultry music. This music does not connotate feeding ducks.
I know, right?
Hey, duck, how you doing? Quack, quack. So, 3-leg parlay. Each of us brings a question to the table for the group. We all have to answer them. Could be a serious question. You keep the music going, right? You ain't got to fade that out. Put it on loop. Let it rock.
I got it on loop. I think it was a natural. It was a built.
Oh, they did a natural fade. Okay.
Yeah.
That's like that Digital Underground song, Do What You Like. Like if you are at a party or a stoop, we will now commence auto fade, and then it fades out, and then it plays for like 5 more minutes. R.I.P. Shock G. Let's start with the man that didn't remember the Titans, Ray Williams. Ray, what is your question for the group? And it could be serious, it could be funny, it could be silly, it could be deep. Hit us with it.
All right. Well, since we are on election day, we're on the cusp of choosing a new president. A new president. I wanted to ask you guys, if Donald J. Trump wins again, where are we moving to, y'all? Where are we going? I know Brother Brayton said that there's some room in the BDE for us. Where are we going? Are we going to Canada? Are we going to Mexico? Are we going to learn some Spanish? Are we staying here and being a part of the revolution? Like, what are we doing? Where are we going if Trump wins?
What's your answer, Cap?
If I could afford it, I'm going back to Greece. Goodbye.
I hear that.
To her motherland.
Half of my motherland, but yes. Sorry, the food out there is banging. I really enjoyed my time in Greece when I was there in May/end of early June, whatever. Yeah, a great time. I would go back to Greece if I could afford it.
Okay. I would say if I am going to leave, my two choices in terms of where I would go to leave, A would be Canada, because I got a lot of friends up there. And who knows, I might rekindle an old flame, Britney Monae.
Degrees in retrograde are about to be.
My other answer would be Puerto Rico. And I know you're saying, Ray, ain't that America? The thing is, they don't know that, Ray. They don't know that. So I could be chilling in Puerto Rico. It's still in America, but they don't know that Puerto Rico is part of America. So I can live out the rest of my days on the island. But if I am going to stay here and be a part of the revolution, I'm getting too old to be on the front lines. I'm not going to be out here fighting on the streets. I'm going to be like Lynn Thigpen in The Warriors. Have you ever seen The Warriors? She's like the radio DJ. It's like, look out, Warriors. There's a cool breeze coming in from the east. But beware. The clowns are out there. And it's no laughing matter. This one goes out to you, Warriors. Nowhere to run, baby. Nowhere to hide. That's what I would do if I was stuck here in the revolution. I'd be like the pirate radio DJ guy. Ray, since you asked the question, what are you doing? Where are you going?
Well, Canada was my first choice as well. Because I've always wanted to live out in Canada anyway, specifically Toronto, home of post wrestling.
Home of Drake.
So I did want to go out there
like
anyway.
Just don't go to that house, Ray. It's a lot of fans in that house.
Oh, gotcha.
You don't want to end up one of them dots on the cover.
Exactly. I ain't messing with no OVO. I ain't messing with them bird brothers and bird bees. But if I can't go to Canada, then I've always heard that Costa Rica is a nice place to go.
Okay.
So I might hide out. I don't know. Maybe because again, one of the many outlandish things that Trump has said, and I know it's hard to keep up with all of them, folks, but I think he was talking at a rally about having one day in which I forgot the specific words, but one day in which the police didn't have to be around or something like that. And I'm like, are you
like
talking
the Purge?
about the Purge? Exactly. if that's the case, then I'll go rob a bank and then go off to Costa Rica. Just tell me when that one day is. You know
I hate to break it to you, Ray, but his purge does not apply to people with your complexion.
No,
you will be the people that get purged.
I'll make it work.
So Ray's going to Canada or Costa Rica. Brittany is going to Greece, and I'm going to Canada, Puerto Rico, or I'm leading the revolution by the radio from the comfort of my own bunker.
Now give me a CV radio or give me a little radio. Like I'll keep you on my dial. Just let me know what's going on.
Let's see.
Like
Brittany,
the Underground Railroad
that goes to Costa Rica,
leading people to freedom.
The more I'm hearing this, feeding the ducks kind of works, Ray. I feel like it's centering us. Britney Monae, open up your chakra and tell us your question.
So, I mean, well, I guess, okay. So since Halloween just passed, I have a 2-part question just in case you don't have an answer to the first question.
Okay.
If you do like horror films, what is your favorite one? And then if you don't like those movies, would you rather be a vampire or a werewolf?
Ooh. I'll go first on this one, Ray.
Right.
I don't particularly like horror movies, not for any reason other than, if you haven't gathered by now, like my brain does not come equipped with an off switch. It barely has a break. And so anything that goes into my mind spins around in my mind. And there's like images and stuff that I just don't want spinning around in my mind, because eventually it's going to come out in my art. Ray Williams. So that's why I put good stuff in my brain, like wrestling and and remember the Titans, Ray. But in terms of like a movie that could be considered horror, I guess I like thrillers more than horror, Brittany, because it's more psychological and there's less like visceral carnage. So I think Get Out would probably be my favorite horror movie in quotes, just because I think it was well done by Jordan Peele, and like not only is it a movie that I think delivers on the suspense the first time you watch it, but then if you watch it afterwards, even if you know what the twist is, there's still things that you pick up and still things that resonate, and there's a good social message in there. So I think Get Out would be the question. And then did you say werewolves or vampires?
That's if you didn't have a scary movie answer.
I mean, come on, Britney Monae, like we've answered this question on a previous podcast. Shout out to DCTV After Dark. What was it? It was werewolves versus mermaids on that show, yes. I think. And I believe I picked werewolf and you picked mermaid.
Yeah.
But in this question, given the choice between a vampire and a werewolf, vampires all day, Ray Williams. Yeah. Vampires all day. You telling me? Because here's the thing. Not vampire shaming out here, but if you're a vampire and you broke on these streets, you ain't been living your life right. You telling me I get to live for hundreds of years? I might start out broke, Ray Williams. I might start out a slave pire. But eventually I'm gonna run the whole country. And Ray Williams, I can stay up as long as I want. Ain't got to worry about sleep. Some vampires have supernatural powers. I can like jump and fly and maybe turn into a bat or something. Vampire life is nice, Ray Williams.
I agree.
What about you, Ray? Do you like horror movies? If so, which one? And vampire or werewolf?
I used to be big into horror movies, and then I kind of faded out, especially when they started having all like the really grisly ones. Like I used to be in the Saw films, and then they kind of petered out. And then
was it Hostel? Was that one of those?
Hostel, Hatchet was a good one, but it's like I think you're going a little bit over the top, and that's what I think now. Terrifier is kind of in that Hatchet spot now, where it's like we gotta go over the top. We gotta give you even more blood, even more gore. So I'm not really into those big ones, but if I did have to pick one that's my favorite, at least now, and maybe this might not qualify fully as a horror movie,
okay,
but it's got horror, like main horror elements, and that's Happy Death Day. It's a really good one. I kind of like the spin. Either Happy Death Day or Cabin in the Woods.
Okay, with our boy Batista. Was he in that one?
No, that's a different one.
He's talking about the old one from the 2000s. That's the one where they get that. Don't they get the flesh-eating virus or something in that movie?
No, you're thinking of Cabin Fever.
Oh, okay. Damn.
No, Ray, you're thinking of Disco Fever with Dan and Terrio. And then Saturday Night Fever had John Travolta. Saturday Night Live had Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was in Vampire in Brooklyn.
Stop. No, what you're like, Brittany, you're thinking of Cabin Fever.
So which one was Cabin in the Woods?
You're thinking, Nate, of I think Knock at the Cabin, and that's the
too many damn cabins in these woods.
I know, it's a lot of cabins. But Cabin in the Woods is the one with your man Thor and
Hemsworth.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth, and he plays like one, and Jesse Tyler Williams. They play like teenagers going out to a cabin and doing frolicking, doing teenage things. But then there's a killer that comes, and it's kind of like it starts out as well. It kind of like the first hour and a half is half of that, but then the other half is like this office, and there's people in this office, and they're watching the people in the cabin, and you don't know what's going on. And spoiler alert, guys! Spoiler alert. So, the people in the office are actually like a governmental agency, like an international governmental agency that is in a deal with like whoever, like the end times folks are. They're like, we have to have blood. So we have to have blood to stave off the end times, to stave off the gods, so that we don't have
the Illuminati.
The end times. Yeah. And then they have different scenarios. So they have in this particular portion, they have the cabin in the woods, and they got the serial killer, like the rabbit serial killer. But out in Japan, they have like the ghost girl coming out the TV. So it's kind of like homages to different types of horror. And it's like they all serve a purpose in order to appease the gods from wiping out the earth. And so in the cabin of the woods, the girl or the virgin who's supposed to get away or is supposed to be sacrificed doesn't end up being sacrificed by the timeline, and then literally all hell breaks loose. So it's a really good.
Wild.
It's like very subversive, and it's
That's
like
insane.
very like it's very meta as far as like thinking of it. It's a good kind of. It's not a parody of horror, but it's kind of like it's kind of like a very meta look into horror movies.
Okay.
It's really good. So Cabin in the Woods and Happy Death Day are up there, but I'll say Cabin in the Woods.
Okay. And Vampire or Werewolf, Ray?
Vampire.
Come on.
I'm 100% behind you. I can't like when it comes like I can't imagine either being a vampire or being a Incredible Hulk, where you gotta like your whole body just disfigured and morphs into something else, and your bones like I saw like a couple of scenes. I haven't seen the whole movie, but American Werewolf in Paris, the old school thing, where the man, brother, his limbs are cracking as he's transformed. It was like, I ain't trying to do all that. Like if I could
ripping your clothes every 5 minutes.
Or if I just my fangs come out, I do my thing. And plus I could be a pacifist like your boy Edward from Twilight, where I go to like the blood banks, I get a sip like a high C, put a straw
like
in
a high C fruit punch.
Like we all
just
good.
Just walking around sipping blood in a little pouch.
Yeah. So I think that would be more manageable. And like you said,
a Capri Sun.
If you don't mess with nobody, if nobody know, and you don't really mess with nobody, there ain't nobody gonna come after you with no metal stakes and no crosses and no garlic. Like,
and you can hypnotize them if they do. You can hypnotize them if they do.
That is true. That's true.
Okay.
So
okay.
yeah, I would go with Vampire too.
Britney Monae, you asked it. What's your answer?
So I love Scream and Others, the movie with Nicole Kidman. Others, that is such a good film. One of my favorite like films of all time. And like everyone else, obviously, I would go Vampire. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Immortality, you can get rich, literally, like whatever. I can probably sneak into all the concerts I want to.
And you give off vampire energy. Like you give off vampire energy, and our dear friend Vanessa Shark, I think she gives off like alpha werewolf energy, like she runs the pack.
Mm-hmm.
Now just recasting Twilight with black women.
I know.
And then somebody's complaining on the internet, dear kings of sport, this DEI Twilight is not gonna work. Go woke, you go broke, brother.
Right.
But yeah, Scream's a good one because I think Scream. What's the one with my girl Jennifer Love Hewitt? She did a couple of those.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, like those are kind of the horror movies that I like, where it was almost like a meta commentary on horror. Like I did enjoy those back in the 90s. So now it's time for my question, Ray Williams.
Oh.
And I'm gonna go off of Brittany's question and flip it on you. Ray Williams, what scares you? Like what in life brings you genuine fear? Whether it's like a spider or a rabid dog, or fear like more existential fears. What are you afraid of, Ray Williams?
See, we were being all fun and jovial and getting all deep to wrap us up.
Ray was like, I'm feeding ducks on the pond, and now you trying to get emotional, brother.
Like what? Sultrily feeding ducks on the
Socially feeding ducks, like quack quack.
But
are you still allowed to feed ducks? Like, is that a thing people still do?
Kind of.
I think people do still do it, but then I was advised by some people that don't feed them with actual bread because apparently the bread bloats up in their stomachs and may accidentally kill them.
So I know that with wedding rice, like you're not supposed to do that because they'll eat it and then their stomachs will blow up. But interesting. But anyway, Ray, stop dodging the question. Ray, what are you afraid of, Ray? Besides this question.
I mean, I'm not. As far as like things on the surface, either if it comes to like afraid of heights or afraid of animals or insects and stuff, I'm not really afraid of that much or that many things. But I'm also not stupid, so I'm not going to like Australia where the spiders are like half my torso. Like I even if I'm not scared of spiders, I don't want them problems. I don't want that. So, but, I don't know. I think, I don't know. I think the first thing, I'm laughing because it's sad, but, dying alone. I think that's one thing that came up is like dying alone because we all gonna have to go someday, but, yeah, and not even in the aspect of having like a romantic relationship or having like your soulmate or something like that, but just people like just the aspect, because I know it's always said like you're only remembered as long as the last person who remembers your name, I think is the quote. So it's like, man, just know I'm a fade away, and then after 50, 100 years, unless I either do something really, really good for the world or I do
or really, really bad.
Yeah, exactly. But I kind of made peace with not wanting to, I don't need that adoration as far as I don't need people remembering me for a long time, as far as like a whole, like a bunch of people remembering me. But as far as with the work I do at my job, just as long as those kids know that I care about them to the fullest and that I'm willing to help them in any way and shape and form as possible, like as long as they remember, like, you know what, Mr. Williams, he saw the best in me. So I think that kind of subsides my fear, and like I do have beliefs. I do have, as far as like faith, I do practice Christian faith. And so I do have a belief in where I will go afterwards. But regardless of whether I go there or not, like just knowing that I've made a significant difference, and it's not for me, not for my pride, not for my ego, but to know that I have been helping people and I'm doing my best to help people, and that they carry that on is the biggest thing. So I think that side, dying alone, but then I kind of comfort myself with other thoughts as well. So.
Okay, that was a hell of an answer, Ray. That was not completely undercut at all by this ridiculous music bed. That's the whole, again, and much like when Britney was talking about the horrors in Gaza while Chips was underneath her. It's the juxtaposition that is killing me right now. Like Ray just gave this heartfelt answer, and we feeding ducks on the damn pond, Britney Monae. What makes you scared, my friend? What makes you afraid?
I'm definitely scared of like spiders, but monkeys and birds really scare me. Like just terrified.
Any monkeys in particular?
Birds in particular?
Any monkeys or birds in particular?
All of them.
All of them?
All the birds?
Almost
Like
all of
even
them.
a pigeon or?
Yeah, I don't like those little birds that be hanging out at McDonald's. Like, even though I haven't been to a McDonald's in a while, those scare the shit out of me too. I don't like birds. It's
Like a
because when
peacock?
I was young, my grandpa, which is also why I like a lot of random movies, is because he made me watch the birds when I was like, I don't know, 4 or 5. So I just don't like birds. And then monkeys was because in like kindergarten, I think we were watching some like, it's one of those rainy days where like the teacher pops in a movie, but I don't know why she popped in some like Animal Planet thing where they're telling about how monkeys killed some lady's baby and all this stuff, and monkeys are evil, and like that's why you shouldn't be friends.
Are you
with
including
monkeys.
gorillas in the monkey category as well?
I guess so, yeah. So I just like, I'm like, no, keep them away from me. So yeah.
Gorillas is like, we ain't do nothing to you,
But
lady.
in terms of like
Keep those
existential
monkeys
stuff, I
away.
guess, is I think I just have a deep fear of not like completing things that I want to do in life, I guess, more so. Like, yeah, or before I die or whatever, yeah.
Okay. Good answer, Britney Monae. This whole line of questioning, I asked it, so I got to answer it now, Ray Williams.
Yeah.
This whole line of questioning reminds me of the movie The Replacements, which is another football movie you probably haven't seen.
I have seen The Replacement.
Just because it dealt with the Washington football team. It was loosely based on the story of the then Redskins.
The Scabs, yeah.
The Scab Year. That's a fun movie with Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman and I forget the love interest name, the girl. But my man is in there, Orlando Jones. And there's
another
a moment
underrated actor.
Yes, I love Orlando Jones. He's amazing. He was great in what was that show about like the gods and stuff, Brittany?
American Gods, I think.
That was a good show until they messed it up.
Yeah, 'cause he was also one of the writers on the show and he got fired.
Yeah, same thing happened to him on Sleepy Hollow. He was good on Sleepy Hollow.
I love Sleepy Hollow. That show's so good.
But there's a moment in The Replacements where the coach, Gene Hackman, is talking to the players about being scared because the football team is made up of scab players, Britt. So like the real players went on strike and they had to put like guys that had played in college or, couldn't get into the NFL for whatever reason to take their place. And like, he's like, well, what are you afraid of? And the guys are like, just naming things. And he's trying to get to the point of you're afraid of success because you've never had it. And so then Keanu Reeves, who played Shane Falco, the Ohio State quarterback in the movie, he's like, I'm afraid of quicksand. And then Orlando Jones is like, oh yeah, Shane, quicksand is a scary motherfucker, man, because you just sink in and you can't die, and then the more you fight, the deeper you go. And he's like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you get in over your head and you try to make things better and you end up making things worse in life. But that's a long way around the way of saying, so let me answer the question that I posed. What am I afraid of, Ray Williams? I don't like insects either. They're creepy. They freak me out. Like not to a debilitating level, but just like, oh, get away. Like, plus I think whenever I look at an insect, there's always like this weird thing that, again, my brain just is always revving. I'm like, there's a being somewhere that's looking at me like I'm looking at this ant. That's like the Men in Black thing at the end of every Men in Black, where like this whole movie took place in a locker in an intergalactic space station. But I think other than like normal stuff, heights or drowning, things of that nature, what am I afraid of, Ray Williams? I think my biggest fear is probably letting people down. Like not the people at the job, because I don't care if I let the people at the job down. I mean, I do, but I don't, Ray Williams. But letting people that I care about down, letting my nieces down, letting you guys, the people on the team, like letting us down. And it kind of ties into what Britney says, like you don't want to leave stuff on the table because we all have an undefined amount of time on this planet. I might be here for 20 years, right? 30 years, 40 more years, or I might be dead tomorrow. I'm hoping that ain't what happens, but it could happen. It's a possibility that exists out there. And I want to make sure when I'm gone, much like you, Ray, like there is something, and not so much in the fact that, oh, he did this great thing, or he made so much money off of this, or he was the best. I'm telling you, you should have heard Nate. He was the best that ever got behind a microphone. But it's, did we live up to everything that we had the potential to live up to, regardless of what that level is? And so, yeah, like I don't want, and that's part of why I just got so energized a couple weeks ago, Ray. I'm like, oh, I finally got the bug back, and I haven't had the bug for a while. Just I've been so tired. But it's like, yeah, I want us to win, Ray. Whatever winning means for us. And yeah, I don't want to let anybody down. Because we just feeding ducks on the pond, Ray Williams. And with that, cut that damn music off. That was such a random thing, but it kind of worked. Ducks on the Pond. You may get renewed for a second episode, Ducks on the Pond. I have to think about it, Ray, but I kind of like the juxtaposition of us spilling our guts and then this random AI generated song playing in the background. It was kind of cool. But you know what else was cool, Ray?
What else?
The first edition of the Parley, ladies and gentlemen. Woo, the inaugural edition of the Parley. We did it. So this is the end of this particular episode. I want to shout out to everybody that either watched live or watched in the future or is listening in the future to the audio version of this podcast. This podcast will be up on the free feed as well as on the Patreon. Patreon.com/The Kings of Sport. $5 gets you in the door. If you want to pay more, we won't stop you because it is a free country, at least for now. Who knows about tomorrow, Britney, or the day after? But right now, or after January 6th, but right now it's a free country. So if you want to pay more, we won't stop you from doing that. But before we get out of here, we got to go around the room one more time. First of all, to our very special guest, our test subject. It's ironic that she says she didn't like monkeys because monkeys are often test subjects. So I guess in this case, Britney, oh, how the turntables have turned, my friend, because you
feels racially motivated.
It does feel a little more racially motivated, like calling a black woman a monkey on election night. It's a little weird. It's a weird choice. But you know we love you, Britt. We appreciate you. Thank you for making time. Anything you would like to promote before we get out of here?
I haven't podcast or anything in a long time because my schedule has been crazy. I am on the AvengeHers Initiative podcast that's on this lovely network, but I have not done anything else outside of that yet to promote. I'm so sorry. So
Brittany did one episode and then we got into a deep contract negotiation. She hadn't been back.
Yes, they're negotiating contracts.
She needs more sock money. She's like, I need more socks.
Yes, I always need more socks. But yeah, you can find me, I guess, on almost all social media platforms at Hi Britney Monae.
Britney Monae.
Ha ha ha. And I do have another podcast with Nate that we haven't even done that in longer times. Is at Lit Room.
We haven't done that in
podcast.
At least a year and a half.
I know. That's on Twitter. That you can find our Twitter. But yeah, that's kind of it right now. It was fun being on here. I do want to make it my goal in the new year to podcast more. So yeah, hopefully you guys will see me more around somewhere, something.
Yeah, Brittany and I have had talks when we're not negotiating over how many socks she gets in the budget of doing something on a more regular basis, whether it's this or something different or a little. We've even talked about doing little mini episodes of Avengers Initiative when all three of us aren't available, and it's just me and Brittany because there's a lot of good Marvel stuff popping off. Oh yeah, by the way, Agatha, what'd you think?
Whew, I loved Agatha all along. I was surprised because I remember when they said she was getting her own show, I was like, I don't know if this is gonna vibe well. Even though I love Catherine Hahn, I was like, I don't think this is gonna be a good show. I just wish now seeing the whole show that they named it something else and not Agatha all along. I think the original one that was like
they
Agatha.
had like 7 different names.
Yeah, it was like Agatha Coven of Darkness. I think would have
like
really
Darkhold Diaries or something else.
Yeah, like I think the other name titles worked a little bit better, I think, than Agatha all along, but I really enjoyed the show. It left me in a place where I really like hope that there's gonna be a season 2, or even if they just do like the Marvel special presentation thing where maybe it's just like an hour and it wraps up some more little like storylines, because they definitely left it where you can do another season. But I enjoyed the show. I was so surprised that the Black woman made it to the end.
Yes.
which is nice.
And in my head canon, Brittany, when she flies off from Westview at the end, she ends up in New York City, and the first person she run into is, I got Chiwetel on these streets, Mordo, and he's like, I know I said no more sorcerers, but you can stay, girl. And then they start a little something.
That would be cool.
And they go on a double date with Doctor Strange and Charlize Theron.
Oh my gosh. I know her character's name. It's gonna bother me. I knew it for like a long time.
Clea,
there we go. Yeah.
Clea and Strange with Mordo and Jen.
The party right
team
there.
up we didn't need. I liked Agatha a lot, man. Like I said this the other night when I did a review over at Post Wrestling for their MCU show, MCU Later with Rich Fan and WH Park. The best thing this show did was make me care about them damn kids. Because I ain't never not once cared about Wanda's kids, Britney Monae. I was like Michael Jordan every time Wanda's kids showed up on the screen, like, man, F them kids. F them imaginary kids. Wanda, why you terrorize these people in this town and killing up everybody in Multiverse of Madness for these imaginary kids, Wanda? But then this show, this man, Joe Locke, I don't even know Joe Locke. It's the first time I ever seen something with Joe Locke in it. He killed it.
Yeah.
He killed it. This man,
So
Joe Locke,
good.
he was funny. He had the emotion. He had the when he needed to be fierce, he was fierce. And then he had the costume looked good. And I was like, okay, I might be here to see this man link up with the rest of our young Avengers. So yeah, Marvel's been doing some work lately, man. Marvel's been doing some work. Like I know a lot of people kind of down on the MCU right now, but low key, not that low key, the other low key, Ray. Low key, Marvel been doing some work. Like Deadpool and Wolverine was hot.
Yes.
X-Men 97 was hot that Britney Monae ain't even started yet. That's the real reason she ain't been back on the Avengers Initiative. She's ashamed like you were with Remember the Titans, right? She can't face us. But what else? Agatha was hot. I think Daredevil is going to hit when Daredevil comes out. I'm excited, cautiously optimistic for Captain America 4, Brave New World with our man Sam Wilson. Thunderbolts, that damn Thunderbolts teaser.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of got me hooked on Thunderbolts, Britt.
I didn't look at the teaser.
You ain't seen the teaser yet?
No, it was more because like I feel like Marvel would release so many trailers that I feel like after a while you have to like not watch them, because then like now the whole movie's in the trailers with Marvel too. So I try not to watch as many stuff. So I might wait till they do like their actual like official trailer and then just watch that and then like okay.
I think whenever they do the official trailer, don't watch it. We'll watch it together because I want to get in on this reaction market, Ray Williams, because that's where the money is, man. These people out here reacting to stuff.
True.
I don't want to be commenting on the back end. I don't want to be reviewing. I want to react.
Okay.
I don't want to be the Avengers, Brittany. I want to be the pre-Vengers, as a wise man once said. But yeah, hi Britney Monae on all of her socials. Britney Monae is a wonderful person. We're glad she's our friend. We're glad she makes time for us, and we will be hearing more from Britney on this network. Ray Williams, what you got for the people besides immediately leaving this podcast to go watch Remember the Titans?
Well, we will. I know 2 or 3 of you have been anxiously waiting for the next episodes of Spinning Black Fist podcast.
Where that, Ray? Where that?
I've been slacking, but as soon as we leave off from here and I go pick up my pizza,
and Remember the Titans,
and watch Remember the Titans.
Where you get pizza from, Ray?
I'll do it in tandem with watching Remember the Titans. I'm going to go ahead and post up the last 2 episodes from the last 2 months for the Spinning Black Fist podcast, where we recap the 2 last UFC shows. We also recap the PFL show in which Francis Ngannou was able to make a triumphant return to MMA. And we'll just be getting ready. I know we have our 1 year anniversary coming up. We have some special things in the canon for that. So
Ray, did you happen to catch Rewind to Raw last night?
Not yet.
All I will say is you are welcome. I made some inroads on a potential big guest for you, Ray. Now you just got to close the deal.
All right. Well, I'll be listening back, and I'll have my people reach their people, and we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch. But yes, Spinning Blackfish, wherever you can find podcasts, right here on the Kings of Sport Network. You can also find me here on the Kings of Sport, the proper podcast, the mothership, if you will, the brothership. And online, you can find me either on X/Twitter or on Instagram at MondoDondo1.
Okay, Ray Williams. Where you getting that pizza from tonight, Ray?
There's a place, it's like a local place called Paisanos.
Okay, Paisanos.
I know.
Hey. It seems like a place with, and here's the thing, I might be stepping on toes, Britney Monae, but this kind of, again, that's what we do. We just having conversations, baby. It's the parlay. I feel like it's the kind of restaurant, and I don't know the good people at Paisanos, but I feel like they have just enough bigotry that it makes the food taste good. Like, you can't have too much bigotry at your pizza place, Britney Monae. Like, it can't be Sal's Pizza from Do the Right Thing. Hey, Sal, why you ain't got no brothers on the wall? Get your own pizzeria. When you open your own pizzeria, you can put whoever you want to, but this is Sal's Pizzeria, and Frank Sinatra is on the wall, brother. But I feel like you got to have just a little bit of like old world European prejudice, Britney Monae, to really bring that flavor out in the pizza, but like not enough that you like calling people the N-word when they order from you. like when Prego used to say on the commercial, it's in there. They meant the bigotry. The bigotry was in there. That's why it tasted so good. Shout out to all our Italian American brothers and sisters. We love you. And your delicious pizza. It probably ain't even Italians that run that restaurant. It's probably like somebody from the Dominican.
That's true. I mean, they're part of like a small chain, so but hopefully there is hopefully there is a Italian somewhere in the
just for the authenticity.
Yeah.
What do you get on your pie, Ray?
I just got like the veggie and like green peppers,
a little healthier,
olives. Yeah, as healthy as you can eat with a pizza.
Eating pizza. Yeah. You like pineapples on your pizza, Ray?
It depends. Like when I used to eat meat, like I wouldn't mind the Hawaiian pie, but now that I'm doing mainly like there's that like the flavor profiles go together with when you have like the salty ham or the salty pepperoni with the pineapple. But now that I don't eat meat, it's like it's just sweet.
It's the random ass pineapple with all these veggies.
Yeah.
What about you, Cap? You like Hawaiian pizza?
I sure do. My favorite pizza is getting no one's probably want to eat pizza with me, but I like mushrooms, pepperoni, and pineapple on my pizza.
Okay. As long as you didn't say anchovies, I could rock with it.
No.
Here's the thing about anchovies, Ray. Anchovies trick me all the time. So like anchovies, they're the kind of thing. So we got a spot out here in Virginia called Chinello's Pizza. Nothing beats a pizza from Chinello's Pizza is their motto. And Chinello's Pizza, it's okay pizza. It ain't the greatest pizza in the world, but they stay open till like 4 a.m. So you know the clientele that they're after. The drunk, the high, and the third shift workers. That is the backbone of Chinello's constituency. And I'd say every year, at least once a year, I'll just be thinking like, man, you know what I ain't had in a while? Anchovy pizza. And I'll order the anchovy pizza, Britney Monae. Like I have the sense to order a small one, not a large one. I'll get a small anchovy pizza, and I'll get through about 2 slices, and it's like, oh, that's why I only order this once a year. Because them anchovies, like the first slice, you're like, Okay, anchovies, I see what you're working with. The second, it's like, no. You've gone too far, anchovy pizza, because it's just so salty. And it's just like it overpowers the pizza. And even when you're finished eating, even when you wash your hands, you still smell the anchovies.
Like all you get is anchovies. You don't get any other toppings.
I get like the anchovies and like the peppers, the onions, like the veggies.
Oh, okay.
But the anchovy is like the star of the anchovy pizza, and it's like, you shouldn't be a star. You're like my man Taylor Kitsch on these streets. No offense, Taylor Kitsch. The anchovy pizza is like John Carter or Mars. It's like there's a reason I'm not casting you in my pizza movie no more, dog.
He just casting strays.
Yeah, I thought he was good in Friday Night Lights. I don't know why it didn't work. Like one bad movie shouldn't like ruin your whole career.
It's crazy because he's a white man and it ruined his career.
Yes, like how bad does a movie have to be to ruin an attractive white man's career? Ray Williams, like the brother was in shape. He had the hair. Lost Disney all that money, and Mickey was like, "You're finished, kid. You never wanted to start again." Ha.
And he ain't do nothing wrong either.
Right, he ain't touched nobody. He ain't.
Right.
He's not a drug addict.
Exactly.
He didn't beat anybody up.
It's like Robert Downey Jr. can come back, but Taylor Kitsch, they're not calling him for nothing.
They ain't calling Taylor for nothing.
Nothing.
All this man did, he didn't write the movie.
I need to look up to make sure he's actually like out of work.
He didn't write the movie. He was just in the movie.
Right.
He didn't direct it. He was just in the movie.
And I think it was, of course, as usual, as it is in Hollywood. I think like the original filmmakers wanted to make something different, but then of course the studio gets involved and they try to make
Carter
it into
of
something,
Mars.
Yeah, that it doesn't need to be. So
and that was a huge flop for the Disney Corporation.
Oh, I forgot he was the bad Gambit.
Oh yeah. And in that X-Men Wolverine Origins, one of the worst X-Men movies.
Well, he was on some TV miniseries called Painkiller in 2023.
But not the Painkiller we asked for, starring Jordan Calloway.
He was on Waco, The Aftermath. He was on a podcast series called Cause.
Okay. Not looking good for my boy right now.
No, it's not. He was on the Terminal List as a Amazon Prime show.
Okay.
The Defeated.
His career was defeated.
Yeah, it was. Oh, this is so sad.
And he's still like relatively young.
Yeah.
He's 43.
Okay. That's not too old to be a star.
No.
Yeah. He still got time.
He still got time.
Yeah.
Does he still look the same?
No.
Oh, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Damn. Like he couldn't even get like my boy from the Fast and the Furious series that got like a new lease on his career by doing like NCIS New Orleans. You know what I'm talking about, Ray?
Lucas
Black. Lucas Black.
Oh.
Like Lucas Black didn't hit in the movies. Like they
wasn't he in the Friday Night Lights movie?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Like the movies wasn't really hitting for him, but he had like a good 10-year run on that damn NCIS New Orleans series.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, wait, he has 3 upcoming projects.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got 3 upcoming projects?
Yeah, it's The Terminal List, Dark Wolf, 8 episodes. It's in post-production. He's in something called Pisces that's in development, and then he's in American Primeval, which is a TV miniseries in post-production.
At least he's still working. Like
at least he's still getting a check.
No A-lister, yeah, buddy.
It ain't like it used to be.
Yeah, no,
but that's crazy how that one movie, like they was like, nah, you ain't got it, buddy.
Yeah, he doesn't look the same at all.
Damn.
Oh wait,
maybe they let himself go, or he just got older.
A little bit of both. He's in a movie there, and Taylor Johnson did not know that. I might have to watch that.
Damn, that John. I mean, to be fair though, like he probably started like just like drinking after John Carter when they stopped returning his phone calls. Poor Taylor Kitsch.
That was 12 years ago.
12 years ago, man. Damn. And you know when he got the script for John Carter, he was like, "Ooh, I'm finna make a name for myself."
What you did there.
Damn.
Oh my god.
I hope he has a good night. And I hope he has a good night if he's not like one of these actors who like kind of flamed out and then turned MAGA all of a sudden to try to get their career back. Like Dean Cain on these streets.
R.I.P. Chuck.
And Zachary Levi.
That's what I said. R.I.P. Chuck. I love that show.
Shazam.
I love Chuck. That show is so good.
Chuck was good, and the first Shazam was good.
I loved the first Shazam.
And the second one was trash.
Yes. But
you know why it was trash though, Ray? And I said it the moment they announced the second Shazam. They should have done it. It would have been so crazy. They should have had Sinbad in the movie as like Uncle Dudley, like the Uncle Dudley character from Shazam. And not even have him have a big role, but it would have been so crazy because there are people in this world, conspiracy theorists like my dear friend Britney Monae, who believe, Ray, that Sinbad starred in a movie back in the day called Shazam, where he was a rapping genie, but that's Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal, who played that movie. But for the Mandela effect,
I have seen Kazam, and I know there's the one. I know that there is the one with Shaquille O'Neal, and I swear to God, there was an actual Shazam with a Sinbad. Both of them exist. Maybe that's the timeline I'm originally from.
There's a timeline somewhere it got crossed. Like there's an excellent episode of last thing before I give my plugs and we get out of here. Like Pablo Torre is a columnist that used to work for a bunch of big newspapers, and he did a show on ESPN. Brittany, Filipino cat. He's very smart. He's like one of those people that went to Harvard and know they're smart, but he's also like goofy. So it kind of balances it out so he's not so insufferable. And he has like this podcast called Pablo Torre Finds Out, where he does like investigations. Like there's supposed to be this haunted hotel in Oklahoma City that NBA players are scared to stay at because they think that, a ghost is there. And so he sent somebody out there to do an investigative story about it. Or he did something on Caitlin Clark, like a psychiatrist talked to Caitlin Clark, and they broke that kind of down. Like, why is she so crazy competitive? And then he did an episode recently with a young woman, much like yourself, Brittany, who was convinced that Sinbad starred in a movie called Shazam. And like he and her talked to a psychiatrist who studies the Mandela effect. And like they had interviews from Sinbad, interviews from Shaq. Like they broke it down. And then finally at the end, Pablo's like, so Marie, I don't even know if that was her name, but it's like, so Marie, are you finally willing to admit that what you believed your whole life was false? And she's like, I don't know what to believe anymore, Pablo. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is my friend Britney Monae. That is Britney.
The movie is real. I swear to God, both movies exist.
Loki messed up the timeline somewhere.
It had to be, because I swear to God, I've seen both movies, and I distinctively remember both movies, and I remember the one with Shaq being better. But I know that Shazam exists, and it just like it's real.
Well, you know what's crazy, Ray? Sinbad did like an April Fool's joke like 3 or 4 years ago, where he actually like filmed a fake commercial for Shazam, and people were like, "See, that's evidence that he was in the movie."
Is there really that many people that believe this?
Yes.
This is the first time I've ever heard.
It was a Disney original movie.
I've never heard of this phenomenon.
Yes,
I've always known of Kazam. I've never known of
Shazam. Yeah, me too, Ray. But I've got a ton of friends that like swear that they grew up watching a movie called Shazam starring Sinbad as a genie. It's fascinating. It's the Mandela effect, ladies and gentlemen.
But the thing is, I remember both. I'm not one of those people who are like, no, the Shaq movie didn't exist. Like, I know the Shaq movie exists because I remember that one being the better movie of the two.
But the thing is, like, there's an easy way to prove this. You just had IMDb.
Brittany's like, that's fake news, Ray Williams. Fake news. Stick to your black job, Ray Williams. Go watch Remember the Titans, Ray Williams.
I don't want to have her like that girl of Pablo. I don't know what to believe.
No, I looked into it the last time we were talking.
Yes, this has come up before.
So yeah, I looked into it the last time, but that's what I'm saying. Something happened with the timelines because I very distinctively
So
remember both of the
Britney is a
movies.
very different kind of Shazam truther. She's not saying that Shazam existed in this timeline, Ray. She's saying there is a timeline that crossed paths with ours where Shazam was in actuality and then diverted. So she's a different kind of Shazam truther.
We're in the multiverse of Shazam.
Yes. But I was saying, I distinctively remember both movies as a kid, and I remember the one with Shaq being the better movie.
Okay.
That's the part that's funny to me, like that she's like, I remember both of them, but Shaq's was clearly better, and that movie wasn't great either.
Because I remember there was like the Latino boy or whatever is the one with Shaq, or he's Latino passing, the one in the movie with Shaq, and then the one with Sinbad, it was white kids. I remember.
There have been so many like Sinbad. You sure you're not confusing it with like First Kid?
First Kid was amazing.
That movie's great.
Not
with
House
Phil Hartman, R.I.P. Or was that House Guest?
That was House Guest.
I love House Guest.
I love that movie. I love that.
She's a brick.
But
House.
My favorite Sinbad movie is the Turbo Man movie. Whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jingle all the way.
Jingle all the way. Yeah, that's
Give me
my
the Turbo
favorite.
Man doll. Don't eat put down the cookie. Put down the cookie. Phil Hartman was in that one too.
Yeah.
Phil Hartman was great.
R.I.P. Phil Hartman.
R.I.P. to Phil Hartman. R.I.P. to Quincy Jones. R.I.P. to Britney's childhood memories.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we've gone on far too long. Let me say, in the number 8 MOZAIK. That's where you can find me on Twitter at in the number 8 MOZAIK. Follow me on Instagram because that's where I do most of my lives now. Because for whatever reason, Ray, Twitter, when I try to do a live, particularly from work, the audio doesn't appear for people. And I don't know why that is. I think it's Elon Musk trying to silence a prominent voice in the Black community. But Instagram, like I've never had a problem with Instagram with the live. So if you want to hear my lives, which I do periodically, I'm over on Instagram, Black Nate, BLAQUE _ in the number 8. Kings of Sport Patreon, as Ray mentioned earlier. This is show number 4 of 5 that I've done in 3 days, Ray, because I had that crazy spurt of energy 2 weeks ago, and then I didn't have the energy when the week arrived. So I've done the Kamala Harris episode with Chris, which is up now. I did the MCU show on Sunday night, talking about Agatha all along. I did Rewind to Raw last night with John over at Post Wrestling. We did the parlay right now, ladies and gentlemen. We fed them ducks on the pond. And then later tonight, I'll be on with my guy, Rylan Turner, over at Wallop Media doing a pop-in, because sometimes you got to pop out and show them, Ray, talking about election night. So that will conclude my busy stretch, and then we might do a Kings of Sports sometime this week after the election. Like whenever we get the official results, you, me, and Chris will kind of touch base and decide when we want to come back and do a Kings of Sport proper.
You tell him that I said he sounded like Charlie Day on that one episode.
Yes, Brittany says Chris sounds like Charlie Day, and I didn't hear it until she said that, and now I can't unhear it. Like, he kind of does. He's a black Charlie Day.
There was something that he said, and his voice got really, like, high pitched, like Charlie Day's does, and I just couldn't unhear it, because then then I was really paying attention to him. I was like, oh my God, he sounds like him, like, all the time.
He's a black Charlie Day, the professor.
I gotta tune my ears to hear.
Yes, once you hear it, Ray, you won't be able to unhear it. But yes, this has been a great first episode of the Parlay, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. Brittany, again, always good to chop it up with you, my friend.
Yes.
Hope you have a wonderful night in California. Ray Williams, enjoy your pizza and your Remember the Titans and your Toyota Camry with the Lexus sticker. And I will enjoy one more podcast, and then it's beer and election night for me. Go watch me some Rachel Maddow, some Joy Reid. That's MSNBC tends to be my election night spot of choice because of one man, that man Steve Kornacki in the building.
The sticker, not the sticker, the Sharpie.
With the board.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep, because nobody can break down these rural counties like Steve Kornacki, Ray Williams. Nobody like my man Steve. But that's going to do it for the inaugural edition of the Parlay, ladies and gentlemen. We did it. Ray, get that ending music ready. Crank it up to like 80. I want that music to kick because that music, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Sorry, I was just thinking about the Pirates parlay.
Oh, that was a totally random non sequitur from my friend.
Not really, because also my bookmark that's right here.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Wow, Britney is in the tank for Disney.
No, I'm not.
I mean, I am too, Ray. Sort of, kind of. Like Disney Plus is probably the most used like streaming service I use.
I literally watch it's Disney Plus or Hulu because also Hulu's indie like horror film selection is so good that I just will like watch. I have to do it in the day though. I'm still one of those people. I love scary movies, but I gotta watch them in the day. Or I get bad nightmares. So yeah, I will stay and watch like stuff.
And the birds and monkeys come into your room.
Oh no. I don't watch Planet of the Apes movies because of that, except for the Tim Burton one.
Shout out to who was my gorilla with the lady? Like, was it Jane Goodall? She was out there with the monkeys. And it was a big gorilla, the gorilla named Coco that like had a kitten or something.
Yes, Jane Goodall.
It's wild on these animal streets, but it's also wild in these political streets. So everybody, be safe if you are in line voting and you're watching this. Like, that's wild. Stay in line even when your polling place closes. You can still vote if you are in line. It's your American civic right. Whether you choose to engage in it or not, depending on doesn't matter who you vote for. As long as you want to engage, you have the right to engage, and that's part of what makes this country what it is, Brittany. This notion of a nation, as your man Hamilton would say, makes it what it is.
Country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry.
Ray is hungry for some.
I'm hungry.
Vegetarian pizza.
That's mainly why I said that line, because I'm actually hungry.
Yeah, Ray's hungry for some pizza with a slight bit of racism on the side. Just how they used to make it back in the old country. But that's gonna do it for the first edition of the Parlay. Ray, get that theme music ready. Crank it up to 80 because we getting out of here, brother. For Ray Williams, for Britney Monae, I am the Godfather, Nate Milton. And hey, whether you enjoy this or you didn't enjoy this, we're just having conversations, baby. Hit the button, Ray. Ray's like, I got way too much to do right now. Okay, turn that up, man. That's royalty free. You can't get copyright strikes for this, Ray Williams. We'll see y'all next time.